Hello and welcome, everyone, to Good Old Rocky Talk, a Vol Society podcast. I'm your host, Brad, here with my partners, the Davids. We're glad you're listening wherever you are. This is Good Old Rocky Talk. All right, and welcome, everyone, to our first episode of Good Old Rocky Talk. I am your host, Brad, along with my buddies, the Davids. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Doing good, Brad.
Awesome. All right, guys. Quick recap of who we are before we get started here. This is a part of our Vol Society Facebook page that we have. We launched it about 2 years ago. We've got over 12,000 followers now. We're now on Twitter, YouTube, the works. And the fan base just keeps growing, which is all exciting to see. And we've had requests to do a podcast, so here we are. We're doing a football themed podcast for this season. And next week we'll dive into the Ball State matchup. But today we just kind of wanted to just answer a few questions, kind of tell you about who we are. Again, my name is Brad, and I have the Davids here. We'll address them as their last names so that no one is confused on this podcast. We'll go with Morrison and Dees. That is their last names. I've known these guys for a long time, good buddies of mine since childhood. We have a lot of things in common. One of the number one things that I think we can all agree on is we love the Tennessee Volunteers. Am I right, guys?
Absolutely. Definitely been a lifelong fan. Like I said, my dad is a big Tennessee fan. My grandfather is a Tennessee fan. So it's just like the stories you hear. It's generational. You're born, you're a Tennessee fan, or at least you hope to be.
Yep, definitely. All right, guys. Well, let's get started here real quick. First thing I kind of want to go over, we've been a few weeks in here to fall camp. We've all heard a lot of updates and different breaking news on different things going on with the team so far. But I got to ask, and I'll let Dees answer this one first. What's the biggest thing we think we've learned so far through fall camp? David, take it away.
Yeah, so you kind of are taking everything in bits and pieces. The media are only allowed to see a short portion of practice. It's usually nothing super significant. So you're going off of uh, behind the scenes, hopefully some reporting, and then what the coaches are publicly saying and trying to make sense of all of that. But what I hope we've learned is that this season, Hendon Hooker is poised to have a big year, to put up big numbers in this offense and hopefully blow a lot of teams off the field.
Yeah.
I know we have some challenging games, but I think the offense is ready to take another step in the right direction. Year two of Hendon Hooker and Josh Heupel's offense, and so I'm hopeful that they're going to pick up where they left off last season, and Hendon Hooker is going to have a big year and limit his turnovers and continue to move the ball with his legs and with his arm.
Definitely, definitely. Morrison, what are your thoughts?
My first thoughts is the freshmen coming in right away and making an impact into fall camp.
Yep.
We've heard of Squirrel White. That's kind of been the name at camp. A lot of excitement and hype coming from him. I mean,
Hmm.
he's fast as a squirrel.
Yeah.
Put a little pun in there. We're hearing reports that in camp, he's beating DBs one on one in coverage. And so there's some excitement there. And then just, some of the freshman running backs, Justin Williams Thomas, Dylan Sampson, we don't know a lot about them, but it seems like they're really grasping the playbook right away. And especially, and all these guys we talked about are early enrollees. They enrolled in January. So they've already went through spring camp. So by the time fall camp rolls around, when the rest of the team, I
Yeah.
mean, the team reports in spring, but they've kind of already ahead of the learning curve, and now we're in fall camp and they feel more confident. So I'm glad to see that these players, these young freshmen coming in, already adapting to an SEC football everyday life, not only in practice but in the weight room, and then the way they go to class and just living that college football lifestyle as a student athlete.
Yeah, so I agree with both of you guys. I think you both kind of hit the nail on the head there. And that Morrison, you make a good point. That was kind of going to be what I was going to say. Is in terms of, one of the things I think we've learned so far is we're going to have much better depth than we did last year, and as we
Hmm.
all know, we need it. We had if we have that last year, we win a few more games. I think we get. It's possible we get 8 or 9 wins last year easily. But we didn't have the depth. So I think, from what I'm hearing, we'll find out obviously when they play. But what I'm hearing is we're going to have much better depth, and I think that's going to. And we'll talk about our predictions at the end of the show. But I think we're gonna, we're setting up to have a pretty good season. Uh, you got to have the depth. So yeah. Uh, Real quick, guys, I want to let everyone know if you're following us on Facebook, Twitter, all these different platforms that we are on, it's your chance to have questions asked, and we'll answer those for you guys. One of our segments on the podcast going forward is you ask us questions, we're going to do our best to answer those questions each week on the podcast. So if you have a question, please join in on our Facebook, YouTube, send us a message, you know leave your name, what the question is, and we'll be sure to address that going forward. All right, going into our next question that I have for you guys, what is the biggest question you still have about this team? Morrison, I'll let you start.
The biggest question for me is the secondary.
Yep.
Last year, 122nd in the nation
Mm-hmm.
in passing defense. Just a lot of big plays, explosive plays that the opposition attacked on us. Which is funny because Alante Taylor was a part of that secondary, and now he's on an NFL roster, which not to just proves how talented he is. But the rest of the team, there's like I said, you talked about the depth situation. We had very thin depth in the secondary, and like I said, a lot of chunk plays uh, eh, throughout the defense, and even in the secondary. So, to me, I want to see who is going to number one, who's going to fill Alante Taylor's position out one
Mm-hmm.
of those corners, and then second of all, we've heard about the transfers last year, like Brandon Turnage, Kamal Haddon. Can they make a impact and take a step up in their game?
Yeah.
The safety position is also another key factor. Theo Jackson, who's on my Tennessee Titans, we drafted him in the 6th round, and congratulations to him. I feel confident with Jalen McCullough and Traven Flowers to kind of fill those spots, but these are two big holes that's not there anymore, especially if the defense, like I said, get it finished
Yeah.
122nd in the nation.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, I think you definitely nailed all the points there. I totally agree with that. Dees, what about you? What do you think?
Well, I would love to go opposite of you guys and say offensive questions. And there are offensive questions. You
Yeah.
have questions at left tackle. Who's that starting left tackle going to be? Is it going to be Crawford? Is it going to be Mincy?
Mm-hmm.
I know they're still working that out. Probably going to play both for a first couple of games, hopefully settling someone in by Pittsburgh. Uh, but also, you have questions at wide receiver. Who's that next wide receiver going to be that steps up alongside Cedric Tillman?
Yeah.
What kind of production do you get out of Jalen Hyatt? Uh, Josh Heupel's raved about Hyatt this offseason, but I want to see him do it on the field, right? But I'm with you guys. The defense is the question, especially depth. You mentioned that, Brad. The coaches seem like they're going to trust more guys to get on the field this year, which I think is huge,
Mm-hmm.
especially as fast as this offense goes. You've got to have those bodies, and you got to have those guys that can come in and late in games and be on the field for us late in the season. So I'm hopeful that that's going to happen and that we're going to be able to trust those guys to roll out some bigger rotations. And then also, who's going to replace Matt Butler as the stalwart of our defensive line? I feel really good about Amari Thomas,
Mm.
but looking to see who's going to step up on the interior, especially with him, and what kind of rotation is Rodney Garner going to throw out there along that defensive line? They've got some exciting young guys, and you got obviously on the edges, you've got Byron Young and Tyler Barron back, but who's going to help solidify the interior of that defensive line? I think is my big questions for this coming year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you guys nailed it. Exactly. I think the number one thing for me is what you guys have already, talked about is defense. I think our offense is going to be just fine. We threw up almost 40 points per game last season. I think we're going to do that again this year. So I have no concerns there with Heupel's offense. We're going to have at least that, if not more, this year. And the big thing is you can throw up 50 points all you want, but if you're not stopping your opponents from doing the same thing, there are games you're going to lose. Okay, and we have to stop that this year if we're going to have a really good record, in my opinion. And I think, yeah, I think that's really the number one concern that I have is our defense going to be able to stop them. And David Morrison, there's a stat. I think you know the answer to it. I think it's over. We're ranked 100, and is it 106 in third down
Yeah,
defense conversion or
Efficiency. Yeah.
and third down efficiency
yeah,
is
efficiency.
it's
What
it's in the low
what is
100s.
that? Is it? I think it's 106, right? Last year.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that can't happen this year. I mean,
No. No.
if you're gonna win big games, which I think we have the chance to do, that stat has to change.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, obviously everybody knows we run an up tempo offense. It's not a air raid offense like Mike Leach runs at Mississippi State. It's a very balanced attack, and not to transition over to offense, but I mean, you look at our stats and they are very even as far as passing to rushing yardage goes. But with that up tempo offense, snapping the ball every 5 seconds, and you get down there for a quick score, or unfortunately you may get a quick three and out. Your defense that was just came off the field, less than 5 minutes ago, has got to go back on. So they're tired. They probably hadn't had enough time to catch their breath from the last drive, and then that's like you said, that's where third downs really
Yeah,
hurt because it's like, okay, we got that stop on first down. On second down, all right, here we go, third down. All
right.
right, do we have enough energy? And I think that's where uh, it really hurt. But yeah, I agree. I mean, like I said, I want to see what can Tim Banks dial up on third down. What can Josh Heupel uh, may implement in there? I know he's more of an offensive minded coach, but these two can they come together and
Hmm.
bring up some third down packages? Maybe to blitz a little bit more. Maybe you know put some more DBs out there or something.
Yeah,
Uh, you know,
What
it's going to be interesting.
yeah.
what I also, you guys will probably agree. Last year, I remember that go back vividly to that Ole Miss game with Matt Corral, and he just ran wild on our defense, and
Oh,
his legs are what
Mm.
won them the game. What does
yes,
Tim Banks have this year for the
yes,
mobile quarterback? When you go up
yes,
against Richardson from Florida, or you go up
yes,
against whoever else they may run into on their schedule,
Byron Young.
Byron Young, yeah. So
yes.
who do they have that? What do they have this year for that?
Absolutely, and that's
Can they
what
get
I
off the field if
yeah.
they're preventing quarterbacks from extending plays?
And that's what I want to see this year, right? I have to see an improvement from last year. And I think we are going to see that. These guys get paid the big bucks. They're not stupid. They know what they need to work on in the offseason. And I am optimistic we're going to see a difference here. But you're right. That's what, that's going to define if we can win some of these big games or not. Can we stop that? So, absolutely. Hey, listen, guys. So, I expect a lot of good things from all of our starters this year and backups. Okay. Offense, defense, special teams. But here's my next question. Who is your breakout player for the Vols this year? Meaning, who will surpass expectations? Morrison.
Well, I'm going to go with on the defensive side on the edge, and I'm going to go with Byron Young. Now,
I
Byron
like
Young
it.
is starting to get some media hype. I mean, I think he was on one of the All SEC teams in the preseason.
Yes.
But looking at his stats from last year, he had 5.5 sacks,
Mm-hmm.
and not a lot of people are talking about. I know a lot of people love Will Anderson at Alabama, and yeah, he's a once in a generation edge rusher. But Byron Young just quietly at 5.5 sacks last year, only had 20 tackles last year in an interception. But I think he can take that next step up. I love his story. A former assistant manager at the Dollar General, fell out of football, played on the, found a tryout at a junior college level and just worked his tail off. And now he's an SEC defensive edge rusher, one of the
Yeah.
best in the conference, and it's just a great story what he brings. And
Yep.
like I said, I want to see him really step up. I think if he can equal the sack total from last year, that will definitely get him a tryout for the NFL. I want to like I see his tackles maybe improve a little bit more, maybe some pass deflections at the line, just kind of be a disruptor. And I know edge position is a deep position in the NFL draft, but I think Byron Young is going to oversee the expectations and really take that
I
next step.
like it. No, it's a great one, David. It really is.
Who,
D's.
who do you like on offense, Morrison?
I like it.
On offense,
Who's your breakout on offense?
I'm going to go with Jacob Warren, the tight end. You know, yeah, like I said, you know, 6'6", 250 pounds. He's a local kid. Played at Farragut High School, which is near Knoxville, really in the suburbs of Knoxville.
Yeah.
He's a good little red zone threat. And kind of looking at his stats today, he had a great game against Pitt. Like 5 catches for 55 yards and a touchdown. That's when Hendon Hooker came in and kind of went to him. And I think he can really take a step up on the offensive side. I think he only had 18 catches throughout the whole year last year. Maybe if he can get up in about that 20-25 reception range, and like I said, I know him and Princeton Fant have kind of your two tight ends that Hendon Hooker likes going to. But I think Jacob Warren, if he can get open over the middle a little bit more, and like I said, because I know the defense is even, especially when getting SEC play, they're going to double team Cedric Tillman, and we already know that. But can Jacob Warren just kind of quietly break open and go over the middle, and then especially in red zone coverage, really go down the field? Because like I said, that's a big guy you're going to take down at 6'6", 250 compared to your SEC wide receivers at 6'1", 6'2", 210, 220.
Yeah. These. Who are your guys?
I'll tell you, I'll go on offense first. I'm expecting a big year from Jabari Small. I'd like to see him be over 1,000-yard rusher. I think he's going to have the opportunity.
Did I hear right? They say he's put on what, about 10, 15 or so pounds?
Yeah, they list him up to 213 now. So he's got a little more weight, and hopefully, he had an injury kind of plagued season last year.
Yep.
But they're going to need him, and I think he's going to have a big year. I think he'll put up good numbers. And on the defensive side of the ball, there's several you can go with there. I think for me, I'm going to go with Christian Charles. I think Christian Charles, they've moved him from safety to corner, and I think I just like the way that kid plays. I think he's going to have a year where he's able to step in and be a solid guy that they can rely on, and hopefully take away one side of the field as the season progresses. But I think he's got the opportunity to step in and have a big year in the secondary.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely. And let's talk real quickly about I'm sure we've all heard the news by now. We lost a volunteer today. He wasn't here long. Lyn-J Dixon.
He didn't die.
He didn't die. Yeah, I want to make that clear. There is no rest in peace going on here, guys. This is just a guy who's no longer on our team. He wasn't here but maybe a few weeks. But what does anyone know what's going on there? Why that happened? Or
for what I've kind of just heard and read, that like I say, Lyn-J Dixon, like I said, he came in right when Laneith Whitehead went out, like 2-3 weeks ago. So obviously, coming into fall camp, he was at West Virginia and went through their spring practice and played in their spring game and scored a touchdown. So it looked like he was going to go there. Then he hit the transfer portal again, and then fast forward to currently, and he was on the team, but it seemed like in practice he was banged up already and missed several practices. And especially right now in a crucial time, you don't need to have somebody that you're relying on as a veteran running back to be out. So I kind of wonder, I was thinking it today, I wonder if it was more of a coaching decision instead of maybe a player decision.
Yeah, I think something's there. Something's happened. I don't know what. We'll find out, I'm sure, very soon. But
can I add one more guy for my breakout? I want to change my breakout.
Oh, let's hear it.
I like Christian Charles.
David's had some time to think about it a little longer, and he's ready. Go for it.
I really like Tamarian McDonald. I think Tamarian McDonald can come in and maybe play that star position. And I just every time I've seen him on the field, he stood out to me. He's looked good.
Hmm.
He seems to make plays. The more time he gets on the field, I think the better he's going to be. So I'm going to say, yeah, I expect a good year out of Christian Charles, but I think I also expect an even better year out of Tamaria McDonald.
Cool.
Mhm.
I like it. I like my two are simple. David said one of them, or excuse me, Morrison said one of them. Byron Young on defense. Love the guy. Love his story. Um, his size, his ability. I think he's going to be a really, really good asset for us this year, and I expect quite a few sacks. And I just think he's going to be an impactful player on defense. I really do. My other guy, it might sound like common sense here, considering the year he had last year. But hey, I got to go with Hooker, man. All right, Hendon
Yeah.
Hooker. This guy's the man. Look at 2021 stats. He had what? Just under 3,000 yards. I think it was 29.45, if I'm not mistaken. 31 touchdowns. Was it tied for 12th, I believe? And here's the thing: 3 interceptions. That's insane. Tied for
Yeah.
second. Tied for second. 3 interceptions. And his QBR 77.9. I mean, hey, I think these numbers are going to be even better this year. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think the numbers are going to be even better this year. And hey, don't count out a Heisman run for this guy. So I really think this guy's a key to our offense. Obviously, quarterback plays a huge role. They're the leader on that offense, and I hear he's put a ton of work in the offseason. He's hungry, he wants it, and he is capable. Okay, so he's my guy on offense that I'm going to be looking forward to seeing this year. All right, let's go on. Let's go on. This has been great so far. All right, which game are you most looking forward to this year, and why? I bet a lot of people listening would love to get on here and share their thoughts on this, because I'm going to tell you that's a tough question, because there's a lot of games that I'm looking forward to this year. But I want to hear which game, if you had to say one, and I might let you say two. I know David Dees just came in and did two, so he kind of broke the rules on the
I
podcast
got
here. But you
greedy.
know what? That's okay. If you have two, I'll take it. But let's start. I'm going to let Dees go first on this one. Dees, what's the game that's just going to have a lot of hype and you're looking forward to, and it means everything to us?
So this is going to be crazy because
We love crazy.
it's SEC country, right? So
Yes.
the game I'm most looking forward to seeing us play this year is against Pittsburgh.
Oh, I
Uh,
love it.
the reason is, I guess, probably because it's our first big game. It's on the road. We haven't had
Hmm.
a quality non-conference road win against a ranked team in forever, and so I'm really looking forward to that. I love looking at the Pitt uniforms.
Yeah.
I love looking at that against our orange uniforms. It's the Johnny Major Classic. Just seeing that TV presentation with those two school
Absolutely.
colors, I think it's great. It's something we don't get to see a lot. I loved watching it last year. Had
Yeah.
Hendon Hooker started that game, we would have won that game last year. And
No
I think this
question.
is one where we want to go up there and kind of a revenge game for Tennessee and for Josh Heupel. They just changed offensive coordinators at Pitt, and they're going to pretty much change completely what they do on offense. Mark Whipple's now gone. They brought in a new OC. I can't remember his name at the moment, but basically going to be more of a power running game kind of style, an old school style of football. A lot of guys tucked in around the line of scrimmage. So just seeing that contrast, and it could possibly turn into like that Tennessee Kentucky game last year, where you've got an offense that's trying to control time of possession, keep our offense off the field,
Yeah.
and it happens early in the season. So I think if you win that game, it sets everything else up for you. And it's not the end of the world if you lose it, but it
Hmm.
would be a really big win to start our season off on the right foot. So I'm gonna go Pittsburgh. That's my answer.
Hey, I could not agree more. I'm not saying that's my answer. However, I do agree 100% with you, David. It's going to be a huge game, not only for the players but for Heupel. This would be a huge win for Heupel, and honestly, I think it's one he needs to get. But as you said, it doesn't matter. It's not going to be the end of the world if we do lose that game. However, I do think it's going to be a tough game. And anyone listening to the show, if you think this game is a lock and we're going to win, let me tell you that this team is legit. Pittsburgh
Yeah, they got
is
some
a
studs on that
really is a
offensive and
really good
defensive
team.
line.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's going to be
I
a
would like to have
challenge.
our left tackle situation a little more shored up
You
before we
better
go up
believe
there.
it.
I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but
You better believe it.
feel
But
a
it's
lot better
going to
about
be
it.
a game. No
Yeah.
question about it. Okay. Morrison, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think my game I'm looking forward to is 2 weeks after that Pittsburgh game, and that's the Florida Gators.
I knew it. I knew
Yeah,
somebody was going to
I
say it.
figured. Yeah. Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's all right. Well, I may give 2. There we go.
Hey,
So
it's
I'll
okay to
talk about
say it.
Florida.
It's a huge
Yeah,
game, man. Are you kidding? It's
yeah,
the Gators.
yeah. I mean, this is a rivalry game. I mean, since 2010, and a lot of Tennessee fans know it by heart. Since 2010, we are 3-33 against Florida, Georgia, and
Ugh.
Alabama, and it's a bad taste in our mouth. We ain't gonna sugarcoat that.
Let's let's
But
let's not
you
mention
have
that
an
again,
opportunity.
Morrison.
Yeah,
That's depressing.
yeah,
And
it
also
is.
on this show, we do not mention some of our previous head coaches as well. I will not allow those names to be mentioned, but especially the last guy. Okay. So
Yeah,
Morrison, I know you do it on
absolutely.
your show on
What about
Wednesday.
ex-athletic directors? Are we allowed to
Oh
mention those?
gosh, no, no, no. Thank you for mentioning that. No, you're not allowed to
Okay.
do that. Okay, but especially the last coach. Please don't. Please, guys, don't
No,
do it.
we won't mention any
All
names.
right.
No, you think about that Florida game. Like I said, last year we went through the first year head coach. Like I said, obviously our program was at the bottom because of what the previous.
We know. Oh yeah.
But like I said, we went through the first year head coach, a lot of newness to the program. Now, here we are a year later, and over expectations that we had last year. Now you come into playing Florida, one of the 3 big rival games. Florida just got Billy Napier, who came from Louisiana Lafayette. Uh, and they've kind of had a wild off season too,
Yeah.
as far as uh, trying to, I guess, learn about him and his style of coaching. You got to get this win this year. We have way more talent than Florida did.
Yeah.
Florida does right now, and it's one of those games I wish we can rewind and play them
Yeah.
even in like November.
Oh
I mean, I
gosh.
think we
I
could just
know.
crush them.
We would have.
But now here's an opportunity. Like I said, you get them at home. Your crowd's going to be fired up, especially after if you leave Pittsburgh and get a win there.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, you'll be looking at 3-0. You'll have the Gators coming in, 100,000 fans. Uh, a proven quarterback, 1,000-yard wide receiver from last year. The main, like I said, you have to get this win this year, and
Yep.
I think, like I said, going 4-0 in September, which we have not been in forever, that sets a big momentum going into
Yeah.
October, and especially the week after that. I'm not saying this is a game looking forward to, although it's a big game. You get a bye week between Florida and LSU. So
That's
if you
huge.
get that emotional win,
Yeah.
that gives you a whole week to celebrate that win and then come back down to earth and then prepare for LSU.
Yeah. Totally
And
agree.
yeah.
So the question I asked, right, was which game are you most looking forward to? So my answer to that is with you, Morrison. It's Florida. You already hinted on, pointed out everything why that is, and I agree with 100% of what you said. It's our year to beat them. We're a better team than them. They're in a rebuilding stage. We're at Neyland. Anyone who's a true Vol fan understands how crazy the atmosphere is. Tennessee, Florida, always has been,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll discuss that on another podcast. Kind of going back and talking about our memories of some of the big games in Neyland Stadium we've been a part of. However, I can tell you, out of all the games I've been to in my life, there's nothing like a Tennessee Florida game. And
Oh, yeah.
with our past, in my opinion, that's the game I'm most looking forward to because we should win this game. Now, if you're asking me which game is the most important, in my opinion, it's Pitt. Why? Because it's not a conference game. I understand that. However, that game sets the tone, in my opinion, for the rest of our season. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That is my opinion. You may not agree with that, and that's okay. But I'm telling you, if you get that win, I mean, look at our schedule.
Same can be said though. If you lose that game, but then you beat Florida, your season's saved, and
You're
right
right.
back on the right track again.
You're right. But I would feel this is me. This is how I
get it.
feel.
Yeah.
I'm a very passionate fan here, and I know you guys are as well. But if you've seen any of my YouTube videos, you'll understand that I have. I mean, I'm on
Yeah.
blood pressure medicine, guys, and there's a
You're a
reason
nut.
why.
Let's call it what it is. You're a nut.
I'm a nut. You know, I'm a young man in my 30s, and I'm already on a ton of blood pressure medicine. I mean, and a big part of that, and this is no lie, this is the truth. I'm on blood pressure medicine because Tennessee football. It's the truth. I'm
Which is
telling
why
you.
we're not allowed to mention the names of head coaches.
That's
of your
why.
previous
That's
head
why I
coaches.
don't need my
Yeah.
blood pressure to,
They've
go
contributed
sky
to your
high
blood
on a
pressure.
podcast.
Yeah.
I got to save that for the games. I'm trying to watch my health here. But I'm telling you guys, I would feel better. I mean, it's common sense. We all would. But if you get that win at Pitt, and that's a huge win, just the momentum and just, gosh, how good would it feel to wake up, on a nice, hopefully we're going to get to those brisk Saturday mornings, right?
Oh yeah.
That we all look
Oh,
forward
yeah.
to.
A little tinge
To be
of fall.
the little
in the air.
tinge of fall is coming, and you sit there and you're drinking your coffee in the morning and you just smell football in the air, knowing that we're undefeated going into Florida. My goodness. I
And let
mean,
me throw this out here,
yeah.
guys. A little. I know it's looking ahead and big picture looking in, but can you imagine? Like I said, let's hypothetically think we go 4-0. We
In
go to the
September.
bye week,
Yeah.
and in September, yeah,
Yes.
we go to Baton Rouge,
Yes.
upset LSU.
Yes.
Alabama comes in the third Saturday in
Oh,
October.
God.
Da 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 da. College game day,
Oh,
Knoxville.
I'll
Could
tell you
that
this
happen?
right now. I'll call this right now. If both teams, now that's a big if, we have to do a lot of work to get to there. If
Yeah.
both teams are undefeated, I'm telling you, game day will be there. What do you think,
Oh
David?
yeah.
Dees, do you think they will or no? You think
Oh yeah, they'll be there.
You think there's another game that's more important?
I'm the wrong guy to ask because I hate ESPN.
I
and
do
it
too.
Kills me. It kills me
I
that we're
know.
doing this TV deal with them and we're exclusively going to be on there from the foreseeable
Ah.
future. Beginning, what year is that begin? I don't
Couldn't
know.
agree more. Couldn't agree more.
2024.
2024.
Yes.
And now we're coming off CBS. I'm just not happy about that.
Oh,
I hate
yeah.
game day, but it would be there and it would be awesome.
Oh,
So,
it would be there. There's no
Yeah.
question it'll be there. It'll be the best game, most watched game of the week, no question. But anyways, I don't want to talk
it
too
helps with
much.
recruiting.
I don't want to talk too
Oh,
much on
gosh,
that
yeah.
because, guys, I don't want to jinx it. Like, there's so much
Yeah.
work to be done to get to that point. So let's not even go there yet. Let's
Let's
take
find
this
some capable
one-
defensive
Okay.
players. Yeah.
bingo. Let's take this one podcast at a time. All right.
All right.
Hopefully, in a few weeks, we can be excited, and I'll have to double up on my blood pressure meds for that game. But it'll be good. It'll be good. All right, guys. Hey, I want to ask one last question for you guys. What is your overall record prediction for Tennessee this year? Which games do you have us losing? And I'm going to let Morrison start this one off.
So I have the 2022 Tennessee Volunteers finishing at 9-3. It seems like a lot of people are kind of leaning in that 8-4, 9-3 range. I'm kind of in that same way.
Who are those losses? Who are those three losses?
The three losses, I think, going down to Baton Rouge is a tough place to play. Even if it's especially at night. I mean, it's a totally different animal down there. Like I said, even though I mentioned the bye week, and I know we were just playing along like, well, if what ifs scenario, but in reality, like I said, you get that. I think we will be Florida in my predictions, but I think going down to Baton Rouge, I think it's just going to be kind of a snapback to reality situation. Alabama is on a totally elite level right now. I mean, I can see it being, a little close maybe in the first half, similar to last year. But like I said, I don't know if we have enough horses in the stall to run with Alabama for 60 minutes. So that's my second loss. And then going down to Georgia, between the hedges. I mean, it's just
it's a tough one.
That's a tough one. But but those are not three terrible losses.
No,
I think we can win the rest of.
Not at all. Hey, let me tell you this: if we end up going 9-3, I will be certainly happy and proud of Coach Heupel and this team. I mean, think about where we were, 2 years ago. What was our record? Didn't we only get like 3 wins or something like that?
Yeah, the COVID year.
7.
Yeah.
With that coach we won't talk about. Unbelievable. Anyways, all right, D's, what do you got?
So I'll start by saying this: I am content with 8-4, I'd be happy with 9-3.
Yep.
Anything better than that, I'm over the moon. I'm going to go
Good
eight
answer.
and I'm going to go 8-4 on my prediction.
Okay.
But that Pitt game could be the difference in us going 8-4 or 9-3. I have those same other three losses. I have a loss against LSU, I have a loss against Alabama, and I have a loss against Georgia. There's no way Kentucky's beating us. There's no way South
Yeah.
Carolina's
They're
beating us.
overrated.
Shane Beamer and that nonsense.
Can we quickly just talk about just quickly? I don't want to talk too much
What
into
a
this,
cheerleader, huh?
this Kentucky. If there's one thing I've been so frustrated about this this summer is everyone talking about all the books, all the predictions you read about Kentucky. I mean, I know they're not a bad team and they're better than what they have been, but come on, I I take I take offense to that. Tennessee's
It's
beating
their
Kentucky.
schedule. It's their schedule.
Tennessee's
they play a soft
beating
schedule.
Kentucky. Okay, it's
Yeah,
happening.
They play a soft schedule.
They do.
If you
All
gave
right, I like
Tennessee
that.
their schedule, they'd win 10 games every year.
So, all right. So, real quick, guys, before we get off of episode 1 here, I'll give you mine. It's like a two piece here. So, in my opinion, and by the way, I predicted last year's record, Morrison, did I not?
You did, and
When
you
you
were
said I
right
don't
on the
think that's going to
nose.
happen, I said take it to the bank. It's happening. Can I do it 2 years in a row? We're going to find out. All right. Likely is the 9-3. Okay, that's likely. However, I'm going to have to pick one, all right? And I'm going to be super optimistic this year. All right. I'm going 10-2. Call me that
Okay.
crazy Vol fan. I know we've all, the typical Vol fan, right? We always hear this is our year. This is our year. But I'm going to tell you, I honestly believe if the defense is there, offense will be fine. Defense has to show up. I see 10-2, and here are my losses: Alabama, LSU. We're going to
Going
beat
with the
Georgia.
Roman Harper pick. Okay.
We're going to beat Georgia. Guys, I don't know
Wow.
why I keep thinking this, but I am telling you, after looking at, here's the thing: Georgia's a good team. I understand that. They lost a ton of people. They lost a
They
lot
did.
of
They
starters.
did. Yeah.
That doesn't mean they're not going to be good. They are going to be good. They got a good head coach. But we're going to go down there and we're going to beat Georgia. That's my prediction. 10-2.
Okay. You heard it here first. 10-2.
You heard it here, guys. Can I go 2-0 this year with my predictions? We're going to find out. All right, guys. Well, listen, we're trying to keep this to around a half-hour show. We're already over that. So I'm going to go ahead and wind it down. Do you guys have anything else you'd like to add?
No, this is a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to doing this every week.
Yep.
Hopefully, people enjoy it at home, and looking forward to a fun season. We'll talk about Ball State next week.
That's right.
Yeah, just echoing D's. It's going to be a fun season. Little quick plug, like I said, make sure you're following us all across our social media pages. We have the Wednesday night show, Vol Society Live. I hosted. This is a way for our Vol Society followers and all fans in general. You don't have to necessarily follow Vol Society, although we recommend it.
And
To
and
talk
by the way,
every
not to cut you off, that Wednesday
oh,
night show at 8:00 on our Facebook. It's on our Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube page. It's live, and we have the chat
yes.
rooms open. That is a perfect place for you to join and ask us questions for our podcast for the next week. All right, so join us on there and ask your questions, and we'll be sure to answer those on the next podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely so. Like I said, we want to hear from all our Vol Society followers and maybe somebody joining joining new during the football season. Uh, this, like I said, gives us an opportunity to really interact with every one of y'all because y'all been very faithful to us the last couple of years.
Yep, definitely. Guys, I've enjoyed it. Episode 1, I think, was a success. I'm looking forward to doing more of this with you this football season. We're going to have a lot of cool things going on this season. We might actually have a few players or past players come on and join us for a conversation. Hey, we would even like to have some of our fans join us as well and kind of partake in the conversation with us. So, be sure to keep following us, subscribe on all the platforms wherever you're listening on your podcast station. Hey, listen, guys, be sure to join us next week as we preview the home opener against Ball State. Home opener. It's here, guys. We are 10 days away. from when we're recording this podcast.
Yes.
All right. Well, listen, you've been listening to Brad and the Davids here on Good Old Rocky Talk. Until next time, have a great week and go Vols.